tell everybody I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Yes I am, yes I am, yes I am. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man.
Sean Marks, you deserve that opening. That's why I gave it to you. You've done a fantastic job with what you've been given here. So basically we're going into the Nets off season and you know, the moves and my reactions to all of them. It was pretty interesting, honestly. I did not expect this much to go down. Of course, Sean Marks surprised us with a few moves I really didn't expect. A couple trades in there as well, and you know, looking back on Sean Marks' like Nets career so far, he took over in February of the 2015 and 2016 season. I looked at the starting lineup we had. It was Donald Sloan, Wayne Ellington, Joe Johnson, Thaddeus Young, and Brook Lopez, and no first-round picks for 3 years. He has taken that team, and what's that, 2.5, 3 years basically, and turn the Nets' future into something bright. I mean, now we have our own picks. We, of course, have the Nuggets pick, and we'll get into that, of course, later. But, you know, the way that Sean Marks has been able to do a complete 180 on this team and create hope for Nets fans, it's just been incredible. It was probably the toughest situation you can imagine a GM being in, and this is really his first time being his own general manager, so I'm really impressed, and he's done a fantastic job so far, and the ass-kissing will continue throughout this video, so let's get into the moves he made so far this offseason. So if we're going in order here, the first thing that went down was the Dwight Howard trade. The Dwight Mare is finally over after 6 years. I did do a video about it, but Dwight Howard ended up being bought out like a few days later, so kind of a waste of my time. But in the end of it, I'm pretty happy that he's not a part of this team, because he definitely goes against the culture that we try to have here, and you know, the Nets are focused on bringing in guys that want to win and improve on their games, and Dwight Howard, you know, he kind of does play games. He doesn't really take the game as serious, and as you see on the quotes in the bottom, that, you know, some of his teammates didn't gravitate towards Dwight and they got tired of his act and stuff like that, so kind of happy he's not here right now. So anyway, we were able to get rid of Timofey Mozgov's contract, which had 2 years remaining, and I think $17 million for each year. That's the big thing, and we had to give up a 2021 second-round pick, a second-round pick this year, which ended up being Hamidou Diallo from Kentucky, and we also gave $5 million to where did he come from? The Hornets. So basically, I mean, look at this. It's just a salary dump for us. We're just getting rid of Timofey Mozgov. We had to take Howard back, but he got bought out right away. I think he went to the Wizards, and basically what this trade did was open up our cap space for the 2019-2020 season, where we were able to save $17 million. And, you know, if you follow the Nets on, like, Twitter and stuff like that, or at least follow their fan bases and stuff, you could tell that the Nets are trying to go all in for that 2019-2020 season where, like, Jimmy Butler, Kyrie Irving, guys like that are free agents, and I'll actually touch on that later, so that's an interesting topic. But it was a good job by Sean Marks able to, you know, get that Mozgov contract off the books. It was terrible. He's the only reason that we were able to get D'Angelo Russell, because the Lakers realized how big of a mistake they made by signing him in the first place. So the fact that we were able to get rid of him and really not pay that big of a price, you know, Diallo might end up being really good. Who knows? He's an athletic player, but needs to polish on a lot of things. And the 2021 second-round pick. So, I mean, you know, I think it's worth it. You know, $17 million is a lot of cap space for one player for 1 year. In this case, it was for 2 more years. So, you know, I think it was the right move. Our first free agent signing was Ed Davis of the Portland Trail Blazers, and honestly, I did not know that Ed Davis was a free agent, and I didn't realize how effective he was last year. For Portland, you could see Damian Lillard tweeted that broken heart emoji after realizing that Ed Davis had gone to Brooklyn for 1 year, $4.4 million, and based off what everyone says, I mean, it seems like the Nets really got a steal here. Davis is 29 years old, averaged 5.3 points last year, 7.4 rebounds. When you put that over 36 minutes, though, it's 14 rebounds, and that's really, like, you know, upper echelon for guys that can rebound. So Ed Davis fills a void that we really had last year, which was rebounding, and you know, having a 19-year-old Jared Allen try to box out guys like Anthony Davis, DeMarcus Cousins, and all these really good centers was kind of too much to ask for. Tyler Zeller was starting at center for us for a while, so as long as Jared Allen keeps improving, Ed Davis will be his backup, it seems like, and that's a really good backup to have. I mean, Ed Davis is a player that is now respected around the league for his rebounding ability and the way he could play defense, shot blocking. So I mean, it really seems like a good, like, under the radar type signing. But guys that are that are reporters for the NBA think the Nets really got a steal here. And when you watch Ed Davis play, you could tell he does a lot of great things. And when you watch him over a period of time, which we will see this season, you'll see how important Ed Davis is to a team's success. So I'm actually really excited to see that, and just see for myself what kind of impact Davis can bring to a team. My favorite Net, Joe Harris, re-signed the same night that Ed Davis signed. I was really excited about this. 2 years, $16 million. From what I've read, it seemed like Harris had a lot of offers out there, but really wanted to play for the Nets, and it seemed like it suited him the best. And I can't really argue that. I mean, the way the Nets play and the way they run their offense with Kenny Atkinson, it seems like Joe Harris is just like the prototypical guy for that, and I'm really happy he stayed. We're not paying him a crazy amount of money, and he might have been offered more than that, but based off what Sean Marks said in that quote, he said, "I thought Joe made it pretty clear he'd love to be back here," and they were able to make that happen. So the Nets do have a lot of guards, I get that, but Joe Harris was shooting 41, almost 42% from three last year, which is really good. He did 10.8 points per game in only 25.3 minutes, so Joe Harris was really good when he was on the floor last year, and he's just one of those guys who just moves really well without the ball and just always seems to be in the right place at the right time. He'll always give you maximum effort. I mean, we understand Joe Harris is not going to be the next Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, but he knows what he's good at, and he does it really well, and he's still only 26 years old, so I think he can get even better, and I think the Nets made a really good move here, and they didn't have to pay him that much, so you also love having guys that want to be part of your team. So hearing that Harris wanted to be a Brooklyn Net was something that I loved hearing, and Joe Harris is a great culture guy as well. So as I said, I was really excited to have him back, and we'll see how improved he was over the offseason, and maybe he'll bring that three-point percentage up to 45%. I mean, that's crazy to ask for that, but Joe Harris, I think, is a lot better than people can credit for. So I guess we'll see what happens next year. Next is another under-the-radar type of signing. We have Shabazz Napier, who came from Portland, 27 years old, signed a 2-year deal with us. Last year had the best year of his career, shot 37.5% from three-point and 42% from the field. 8.7 points a game and averaged only 20.7 minutes per game. So the thing I'm confused about is, I don't know where he's going to get his minutes from, really. I mean, as you guys know, the Nets have a pretty loaded backcourt, and, between Harris, LeVert, Crabbe, Dinwiddie, Russell, there's so many guys to, share minutes, and I don't know how Napier's going to get in there, but his versatility and the way he can play on both ends of the floor can definitely give him some playing time, but I'm really not sure how consistent of a role he's going to have. I feel like one game he might play a lot, the next game he might not see the floor. So it might be frustrating for him, but if guys go down injuries or guys are just underperforming, then Napier can definitely have a chance to step in and do his thing the way he was playing last year, and maybe get even better. So it's just one of those good under the radar signings by Marks, and it's nice to have depth at positions. And even though the Nets have a lot of point guard depth, it's better than not having enough. So we'll take it. And with D'Angelo Russell getting hurt last year, who knows? Dinwiddie at one point seemed overwhelmed with how much he had to play and how much he had to kind of carry the team. So having a backup like Napier was definitely a good signing. So we'll see if it pays off during the season. Of course, recently we had the Jeremy Lin trade, Kenneth Faried trade, and basically what happened here, it was kind of like the DeMarre Carroll trade of last year. Just seems like there's more upside for us. We were able to acquire Kenneth Faried, who has $13.7 million owed to him this year, along with Darrell Arthur, who's owed $7.4 million this year. Both will be unrestricted free agents after this season, but we're also able to acquire Denver's first rounder as long as it's not 1 through 12. And Denver seems like they're going to be a pretty good team. They just signed Jokic to a max deal. They literally just signed Isaiah Thomas, I think, to a 1-year deal. So it seems like Denver's going to make the playoffs, and I hope we do get that pick. So it seemed like a smart salary dump type of move, and the Nets were able to get Jeremy Lin off the books. He was owed, I think, $8 or $9 million this year, basically we just hold on to Faried and Arthur for this year, and they'll be unrestricted free agents. So it seems like a low risk, high reward type of deal for the Nets. And you know, if in the off chance that Denver misses the playoffs and, you know, does get that pick, then I mean, oh well, I mean, it was worth a shot. But I really don't see much downside to this move. And if they somehow get the pick between 13 and 16 or something like that, then we struck gold with that pick. And it'll be great to have another first rounder in the mid round. So there's a opportunity for us to have our own pick, which would probably be between like 5 and 8 or something like that, if I had to guess. And then we also get Denver's pick, which would be in like the later teens or something like that. So the Nets could have 2 top 20 picks this year, and I love this move, and I think it was really worth it. You know, I don't know why people are against this. I think some people are. I don't really see what the point of that is. Kenneth Faried hasn't been used in years, and you know, he's still 28 years old, so we'll see what he has to offer. So I'm excited about that, and you know, I guess we'll see how this move goes in the future. So, of course, we had the draft. We had the 29th pick and the 40th pick. We didn't get to keep Hamidou Diallo, but we still drafted 2 guys who I can barely pronounce their names. I didn't hear about them before this draft. 29th, we took Dazan and Musa. That's the best I can do with that one. And 40th, we took Rodions Kurucs. I hope I pronounced those right. As I said, I never heard about those guys coming into this draft. You know, I was big on Keita Bates-Diop and Jerome Robinson, who obviously didn't fall to us. But, you know, we took these 2 guys, and I did a lot of research on them. So, you know, I'll go into each player and talk about what they can offer us. And so let's get into that. So according to the pronunciation here, it's pronounced Canan Musa, not Dizanan. That's the way I was saying it before. So anyway, Musa is going to be 19 years old. He is 19 years old right now. His height is 6'9". He can score the basketball. And it was funny, coming into this draft, I was saying to myself, okay, what did the Nets need? And I was thinking like a 6'9" scorer would be great, because the Nets really don't have a pure scorer on their team. D'Angelo Russell can, but he's, you know, a point guard. He's like 6'4", 6'5". So basically what Musa does well is he's a pure scorer, he's athletic, and he's a really confident player. You could tell from some of his quotes he's a confident guy. Weaknesses is he needs to improve defense, add weight, and be more of a consistent shooter. You know, watching his highlights, he's a really enticing player. He seems like a guy that can just shoot off the pass and in any position. You know, his feet could be tangled, he can still get a jump shot up. So you know, that's really enticing, and it could fit the Nets system really well. He's not afraid to drive the basketball. He'll take it on anybody. And he was also 19 years old, playing in a league with a bunch of men, and you know, that's got to be really tough. So he did a really nice job there. You know, he won the Euro Cup Rising Star, and a couple names that won that over the past few years. Kristaps Porzingis won it in 14-15, and Jonas Valanciunas won it in 2011-2012. So there are rumors that he fell in the draft because he wanted to stay he wanted to come to the NBA. I'm sorry, this upcoming season. And if he was going to be a stash player, teams would have drafted him higher based off his talent. But I think most teams didn't want to hold on to him. So you could see from the tweet in the bottom left there that the Nets pretty much got him at a bargain. So you know, he seems like a good player. I can't help to think about Gordon Hayward every time I look at him, and it's just a stereotype. Anytime there's a white wing scorer, of course you think to Gordon Hayward, but you know, they're kind of different players, so I shouldn't be saying that. But you know, Musa definitely looks really talented. I mean, he's 19 years old, so it's going to take a few years, you would think. But then again, I was saying the same thing about Jared Allen last year, and look how big of an impact he had. So who knows? You know, he'll be on the bench this year. I don't know what kind of role he'll have, but I guess if injuries happen or if opportunity comes, we'll see what Musa can do next year. And our second pick, 40th overall, we have Rodions Kurucs, if I'm pronouncing that right. He's 20 years old, he's 6'10", played in Barcelona last season. His strengths include his solid handle and vision, smooth catch and shoot, athletic finisher. Weaknesses, he needs more strength. I mean, this guy's literally like Kevin Durant, maybe skinnier, so I mean, he needs to put on a lot of muscle. You would think, maybe not a lot, you know, but you know, needs to put on some at least. His defensive upside is capped due to his, you know, his weight and all that. You know, you need to be a little bit heavier to be more of an impact defender, and turnover prone as a passer, so need to fix that as well. Still young. He you know, played in Barcelona, so he hasn't really seen this competition yet, so we'll see how he adjusts. I mean, I watched a little bit of him, and he's really raw, like a really raw version of Kevin Durant maybe. You know, maybe that's too high of praise, but It's possible. I mean, he is 6'10", he knows how to dribble, he can score, so if he's like a poor man's Kevin Durant, then shit, I'll take it. You know, not a bad player at all to have. Also, you can see from the first article on the bottom there that the Nets were interested in him last season, but he decided to go back to Barcelona. So the Nets had their eye on him for a long time. He won't be 21 until February. He also said himself that he likes Kevin Durant, Gordon Hayward. You know, Gordon Hayward, how funny is that? And Curix, you know, he's a who had a first-round projection last year before staying overseas. He says he likes to compare himself to Durant because he's skinny. So yeah, I mean, these are good comparisons. I mean, that's him saying it, so you really can't take too much into it. But you know, I like the way that they think, and these guys definitely, they seem like they're motivated and they love the game of basketball, and that's what you want to have. So I'm excited to see what they can do. You know, they're very young, so it's going to be interesting to see how they fit into the NBA, and it's you know, it's going to be a process. You know, the Nets pretty much this season are going to roll out their young guys, which is the reason why they traded Jeremy Lin. I think they're going to roll out the young guys and see what they're made of, and it's going to be a fun season. So I hope these two guys get on the court at some point this season. I almost forgot, but the Nets also signed North Carolina guard Theo Pinson to a two-way deal, which is what they did with Isaiah Whitehead last year, where they basically can send you to the G League and to the NBA whenever they want. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but they can just, you know, pretty much call them up and send them down whenever they want. So Pinson he's known as a really, really nice guy, great locker room guy. People love him. You can see from the quotes in the bottom, he's a guy that everybody truly enjoys, and people enjoy laughing at him. So, you know, interesting stuff there for Pinson. He keeps people loose and, you know, keeps people entertained. Played all 4 years at North Carolina, and he really seems like a stat sheet stuffing type of player. He can really do it all. He's 22 years old. Averaged 10.3 points last year, 5.1 assists, 6.5 rebounds, and over a steal per game. So not bad. I mean, I don't know what kind of role he's going to have here. It's kind of a long shot for him to make some type of impact with the depth we already have at his position. And he's known to play point guard, which of course we have three guys in front of him: Russell, Dinwiddie, and now Napier. So if Pinson does see time, it'll be fun to watch. You know, what kind of energy he brings to a team, and you know, the good vibes he brings and stuff like that. So I do hope he's around the team a lot, because he does seem like a likable guy, and you know, he's a guy that'll lay his heart out on the floor for you, and that's what you want. So if the Nets do deal with a lot of injuries this year, which hopefully they won't, but if they do, we'll be seeing a lot of Theo Pinson. So there is upside to that at least, and you know, we'll see what happens next year with him. And now for the fun part, watch a Nets fan get his hopes up here about the master plan the Nets may have in place here. So, as we know, the Nets do have room next year for 2 max contracts. We do know Jimmy Butler does not get along with Karl Towns and wants to get out of Minnesota. He won't sign an extension there. Kyrie Irving has 1 year left on his deal in Boston and always wanted to play in New York. So let's go through some of the bullet points I wrote down here. So the Nets' projected cap room for 2019-2020 will allow them 2 max contracts. Well, there's 2 max contract players. Kyrie Irving wants to play in New York and grew up as a Nets fan. Jimmy Butler is fed up with Karl Anthony Towns. I already said that one. These two are very good friends, and you know, they're having rumors that they want to play together. And either player may be dealt before the trade deadline if they did not commit to their team. So if Jimmy Butler says to the T-Wolves, look, I'm not signing next year, then they'll probably trade him. And if Irving doesn't commit, then Danny Ainge will probably trade him as well. So I get a little nervous when the Nets have to deal with Danny Ainge. So hopefully we just get Butler this offseason and wait for Irving in free agency. But the Nets, they have 2 first-round picks this year, so they do have the assets, and you know, do have a lot of talent on their bench as well. They do have the assets to trade for one of these guys, I think, if it came down to it. So, you know, of course, I'm just a hopeless Nets fan getting his hopes up. But, you know, so basically, if this happens, I mean, it'll be unbelievable, and it'll start like a new trend, and the Nets will be on the map once again. And watching Kyrie Irving is great. It's really fun. Jimmy Butler is just a hard-nosed player who you love watching as well. So it's a long shot, and, you know, it's something I'm going to get my hopes up about the whole season. But, you know, until these guys find a new home, I'm going to keep barking up that tree, and hopefully the Nets can make this happen somehow. And, you know, if it really does get, if this really starts to warm up, I might make another video about this, talking more in depth about it. So I kind of just wanted to bring up the idea, and, you know, if Irving and Butler ever join the Nets, that would be fantastic. But for now, we just got to be complacent with what we have, and we should be excited to watch our young players grow. So that's it. I mean, I would give Sean Marks an A for what he's done this offseason, and you know, it seems like he could do no wrong with the moves he makes, and you know, although I didn't know the guys he drafted, they seem like they're very talented players, so time will tell on that one. And you know, the signings he made, Ed Davis was great, bringing Joe Harris back was awesome, I love that, and Shabazz Napier coming off a pretty good year for Portland, so they did a really good job this offseason, so I applaud the Nets and everything they did. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys.